line which separates the backlog from the activities which we do. And this becomes, the orange line becomes the commitment point. So after you cross the black line, you can still discard the requirements. So you see all these stickies, post-its are different colors. They are all requirements. So everything is a requirement. And we need to see how to manage the requirements. So that is an important thing for us to remember. So whatever is there in the incoming pool of options, they are all the requirements we get from the customer for your project. And the customer may say, I want to build this screen. Suppose it is a mobile application that you are trying to build. Customer may say, I would like to have the screen like this. I would like to do the user experience like this. Various requirements will come from customer. It will all be in the pool of options. From there, you will pick up something and say, okay, let me see whether this is okay to do this type of screen or not okay, and like that. So you see here, we don't do any development work. We are not here to develop something. Even if we do development work, it's a basic POC, proof of concept, or a prototype to see whether that idea is okay or not. So all the requirements which you see in the pool of options, they are not necessarily requirements. They are nothing but ideas. So the customer will have a lot of ideas. Which of those ideas we can take and make it into a requirement, that is the focus. So we take those ideas and we put it in these various columns. So active, done, and various activities will be there. So maybe this activity is checking the user experience screen. This activity could be something else, and like that. Once the idea is taken up, we put all of it here. If the idea is not okay, we discard it. We leave it. So a lot of churning happens here, a lot of discussions happen here, because you are operating at the edge of chaos, right? So much of discussions will happen. Which idea should I take? How should I build the screen? Should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? So all the ideas will be collected, and the dominant activities are what is listed here, and the decision points are shown here. So based on that, we'll say, okay, this idea looks promising, this is better, and like that. Once you come up to this end, the done, then you move it to the ready to commit column. So ready to commit column means out of these ideas, we got 3 ideas. So these 3 ideas are ready to commit, which means that I'm ready to work on these ideas because they look promising. So maybe one idea is build the user experience screen for the mobile app. That idea looks promising. So let me put it here. And then I will build this idea. And that is why it is put in the ready to commit column. Even here I can discard. I can discard earlier also, but even the ready to commit, I can still discard. And those are the things which are in this area. After that, you have this orange line, which is the commitment point. So in case these ideas go past the commitment point and they are selected, after that, you cannot discard. I mean, you should not discard because it will be a waste of time, because again, you have to do the whole process and all that. So in case you discard after the commitment point, that is not called discard. That is called abandon. So we have already selected it, but you want to abandon it and you don't want to do it. It is also called abort. We may want to abort it. So that is not a good thing. So generally, once you cross the commitment point, most of the ideas become requirements, and you take it up and then you work on it and develop the code, everything, and then deliver it to the customer. That is part of the downstream. So Kanban has divided it into upstream and downstream. So this is called upstream Kanban. And what work you do later and deliver, that is called downstream Kanban. The other thing which you can see here is in each of the columns, you have the numbers. These numbers are called WIP limits, work in process limits. So I have some WIP limits here, I have some WIP limits here. So I can put only that much in this column. So if it is the ready to commit column, I can put only 3 to 5 ideas or 3 to 5 more or less requirements. I cannot put more than 5. And I should at least put 3. From all these so many ideas that are coming, 80% or 90% of ideas will get discarded, because we are trying to see which is suitable for our project, which one can we pick up, which one we don't want. So we need to do all the discussions and other things here only, the upstream. Once we have done that, we are ready to commit to a few ideas which become requirements. So we decide, okay, maybe these ideas are good. We can, this requirement from the customer. Let us see if we can develop that requirement, write the code, everything, and then do the testing and then show to customer. And then finally you select it. At the bottom, you can see the entry criteria. So we would have created a policy in Kanban where we list the entry criteria. So suppose you are showing done here before this line, before the ready to commit column. From here, you will move it to the ready to commit. But when will you move? Only when the entry criteria is fulfilled. So entry criteria could be that the idea is clear, all the stakeholders are okay, the idea is worthwhile to implement, it can be a requirement, and we need to do some basic modeling and all and get it approved. So that is also okay. The idea has been reviewed, it is found okay. So like that, various entry criteria we put here. Once we tick all that like a checklist, the idea is ready for being committed. So we move it to the ready to commit column and the commitment point, and then we decide, okay, this is looking good. We can build this in the downstream and deliver it to the customer. But even here, as I told earlier, you can still discard till the last moment before you commit. That is why this is called commitment point. And maybe I don't want the green post-it. It is something it is telling that you need to develop some password and all. We don't need password since we are doing it through another face recognition, biometrics and all. So maybe password we will not do now. So you may at the last moment discard this. Then you may use the other two and move it to the right side for selecting. So again, this column is also known as a queue. The queue becomes empty. So again, I can move from done, previous column, to the ready to commit. So the work flows from left to right, and the signals move from right to left. So you see that always this work is flowing from left to right as an assembly line technique, and the work keeps happening. There is no need to wait for anything and all. And unlike Scrum, there is no sprint here or iteration here. So the work will keep flowing throughout the year. It just moves from left to right, left to right. You do the work, finish it, and then move on. So that way, this is a very good upstream modeling practice that we can use for Kanban. Using Kanban, we can use for our project. So in this course, we'll be understanding only upstream, focusing on all the upstream ways of getting the requirements, getting the ideas, converting them to requirements, then taking it up and making it ready for doing the work. So we pick up that, and then we decide, okay, now we can develop and implement that requirement. That is how the two phases are divided, the upstream and the downstream. So this is called upstream Kanban, where we focus on Kanban for design. So how we use it for design, how we can see the outputs, and innovation. How can we use it for innovation? So various types of innovation you are doing. So all these ideas are nothing but innovation. You are getting so many ideas. So you are innovating and coming up with different techniques to see how to build a mobile app with a good screen. And these ideas are also designed, because you are also trying to design the screen for the app and see whether it's okay, not okay, and so many things. So that is why it's called Kanban for design and innovation. Once we are ready to commit, then we commit actually. We cross this point, it comes to selected. And this means more or less you should not be discarding anymore. There are no more discarding here. This becomes more or less confirmed, but still you want to do something. No, I don't like this requirement. We need to change. That means we need to improve our process of screen. Something we did wrong because of which we committed to a not a so correct requirement. So here, this is the last point ready to commit. After that, you cannot reject. So you take up the requirements here, which is selected. If you still don't want one, maybe it's possible, but that is not called discard. That is called abandoned or aborted. Then we are aborting an almost approved requirement, or we are aborting an approved requirement. So the percentage should be very less, maybe within 2-3%. That is the metric we see. What is your abortion percentage or the abandonment percentage? That is around 2-3%. But if you are ready to commit, the discard percentage is always 70 to 80% or 85% and things like that. Because here you do a lot of innovation design and things like that. So you may not select any of it. You may have hundreds of ideas, but from there you may select 2, 3 or 5 and then decide how to go. So this is a powerful technique that Kanban teaches us. In this course, we learn deeper into how to do all this using upstream modeling practices. This is very good for a project because in your project, when you're working as project manager or agile project manager or team member, you need to know how to use Kanban to come up with your requirements and how we can use it for our project. So that is the important thing we are looking here. Now, if we go forward, we have established the upstream Kanban system. This is called upstream Kanban system. And you can see that the pool of options is there. We do an analysis of all the ideas, that is risk analysis. Then we do requirements analysis and then make it ready for them. So you see the funnel is shrinking. The funnel was infinity here. I can put any number of ideas in pool of options, but I picked some 24 to 48 min max. 24 is minimum, maximum is 48 for this column, that is risk analysis, because my capacity is that much only. We have a few people, 4 or 5 people, they can only work up to 48. So that is how the WIP limits are worked out. And this risk analysis is put. So I move those ideas from here to risk analysis. I see, okay, this looks okay, this is promising, that is not promising, and things like that. Then I move to requirements analysis. I see, okay, these ideas are now becoming requirements. They look good, so we can take it. You see the funnel is shrinking. The funnel has now come down from 2448 to 1224. And from here, still it is shrinking further, ready for dev. So this is where the final thing happens. And this is your commitment point, what you saw earlier. The same commitment point. This selected is this selected. So this is called upstream Kanban. This is called downstream Kanban, the one which you see after the commitment point. So that is before here, and then it is after the commitment point. And whatever you have selected, the commitment point, this becomes your downstream Kanban. This is where you do development, requirements, analysis, design, code, test, implement, and then deploy to production, and then customer acceptance, UAT, everything, and deploy to production. So you see, there is a clear demarcation between the upstream and the downstream. So we are more comfortable and we know this downstream because most of the work we do here. But there are a lot of people who are acting as business analysts, product owner, product manager, and different types of people who are working with product management. So all those people are operating in this upstream space. They are always working in ideas. They want to say, do risk analysis, whether this idea is okay, can we convert requirement, is this a requirement of customer, discuss with the customer, get all those things, and we then make it ready for them and give it to the engineering team. So those teams then pick it up and they take the requirements and then they do this development cycle, software development life cycle. Here you see only one column, but you can have any number of columns and then do the UAT customer acceptance and then deliver to production. So there are many people who want to make a career in the upstream area, that is in the product management, in design, innovation, things like that. Those are the people who will be working in the upstream. And in the downstream, you will have people who are working in engineering teams doing development, coding, and things like that. So that is the clear difference. And you can see the commitment point. So before the commitment point, it is called discarding. After the commitment point, it is called abandoning or aborting. So that is the key difference here. We can discard any number of items here. Here the discard percentage is always very high, maybe 70%, 80% or so, because here we are doing brainstorm. We are understanding what is the requirement of the customer, what are the ideas they are giving, how should we analyze it and all that. But after the commitment point, we are fixed, we are committed. We don't want to say, I will not do this requirement. Whatever you commit, generally we do everything, maybe almost 98%, 99%. One or two, maybe again some gap is there, we may not do it, we don't want to do it, we will leave it. When you say leave it, we don't discard it. We abandon it or we abort it. So that is an important thing we need to understand between the upstream and the downstream, which both are different. So now that we understood this, you can see here. Visualize the steps through which a request or idea evolves in its analysis and synthesis. So that is how the idea, request, everything comes here and slowly gets evolved. The process of elaborating ideas to be developed and delivered to customers and end users is in itself a triage process. So that is an important thing, and we need to understand uh, this activity. So what is the triage process? So what happens is, generally, an example I'll give you. So we are having war. Suppose a war is there and people are fighting and all that. For example, the Russia-Ukraine war, people are fighting. So in the war, some people are casualties. Some people get injured. Some people are more or less okay, they can manage. Some people die. Some people are just about going to die. And like that, various categories are. So the medical team, which is there during the wartime, they will create a triage process. They will say people who can be given that medical support and they will survive. People who can be given no medical support, they are anyway, they can manage with minimal support, they will survive. People who are already dead, so they cannot do anything, so they have to take them off. People who are going to die and need medical support, if the support is given, they may survive. If not, they may die. And one more category, people who are almost going to die, and even if medical support, very less chance of survival. So like this, they will create the categories and put all the people, the war casualties, into these categories. And then they will decide whom to give support and how to manage it. Because generally what happens in the war situation, you will have medical units, but the medical units will not be so much that all the people who have been injured in the war can be given support. Everybody cannot be supported. It's very difficult because number of people are more, but medical people are less. So how will you give support to all? Then the question comes, whom should I support first? So if you support one person who is almost okay and he's surviving, by the time the person who is going to die will die. So you see that triaging has to be done, that no, first person is the person who are extremely injured, critical. We have to give them first support so that they survive. Then the next person, like that. And in the end, those who are more or less okay, we can manage to help them. So this way, the medical team ensures that they are doing their support with the minimal set of people, whomsoever is there in the medical team. They are providing best support, best quality support to whomsoever is there injured in the war. And the number of people who are injured, they, since it is always more, so they will see how to manage it. So all the people are benefited. So that is called triaging. This technique of triaging came in the wartime, and it was initially first used in the Crimean War. Crimean War was the war which was there earlier, many years back, between the Russians and other members. So that's where this came up. After that, it began to be used in software development for prioritization and in other areas for prioritization. And that is how we call it as a triage process. So the triage process is nothing but elaboration of the ideas of what you want to develop and deliver to the customers, and then decide which one to shortlist, which idea to take, which requirement to take, and you will create your own set of legend. This idea looks promising. This idea is not promising. This idea is very good. This idea is somewhat good. This idea is excellent. We can convert to requirement. We can take it. So then the triage will happen. Because again, here you see the development team and upstream team, the designers, the innovators and all, they are only few people. Maybe whatever is the capacity of the team. But the ideas, I can get thousands of ideas. So which idea should I implement? I don't know. So we do the discussions and then we decide, okay, this idea is better, this idea is not so good, and things like that. And then we together make those things into a triaging process. And from that process, we will decide, okay, I can take this up and we can do this. So that is the benefit of this upstream process, and that is called triage. So once we have understood this concept, we can see that in the pool of ideas, a pool of options, the ideas are rough and unspecified. I mean, it's very vague. And then it becomes refined till you decide to select it. So this is an example of a company called Optimizely. This company is in the Europe region, and they are using Kanban for all the requirements. So in this company, if you see, they have a huge whiteboard which spans the entire reception area. This is the reception area. In the front, you have the receptionist. In the back, you have this whole whiteboard, which covers the entire process that the company is doing for development of products. So Optimizely is a software development company. They develop various products, and their entire life cycle is shown in this board. So you can see here that they have divided this board into multiple areas. The problems research which they are doing, the design innovation, that is the top area. This is your upstream Kanban. They then have one more board, the middle board, which is the solution, design and technical feasibility. This is another area. After this, they have created the third board, which is the development area, in development, beta stage, ready to be built, on deck. So this is the one with which all of you are familiar. This is the most popular thing. So Kanban for development, Kanban for support, everything comes here. But before this, you can see so many activities are happening, which generally we don't see. So this course focuses on these areas: the problems, research and solution, design and technical feasibility. There are other Kanban courses which we offer, and those focus on this development area, the Kanban system design. And first day of this week, we had done the Kanban system improvement. Those focuses on development. So Optimizely has used this board to develop all their products, and they are getting very good results and good success. So whatever products they want to build, they have the ideas, that is problems research. Then the solution, design, technical feasibility is put here. And then they decide to commit, like you saw earlier. Once you commit, you cannot go back. So you have to take it up and then you build it. If you don't want to do it after commit, then you have to abandon it or abort it. Whereas in upstream, it is discard. So this is a real life board that they are using. And like this, many companies in the world are using the boards for various activities. So I might have 3 boards here. I might do this board separately, this board, middle board separately, and the third board separately. And all the people who are working in these boards are different. And the department can also be different. I might have a research department. They will take up this board. They'll do separately. I might have a solution department that is focused on design and innovation, tech feasibility. These people are different. They will do separately. And then I have development or engineering department. These people also will do their work separately. So you can see that all the people are doing the work separately or together. It depends on how the company is structured, what is the organizational design, and so many other things. But our focus in this course is the upstream, where we look at what are the problems, how to come up with the solutions at a high level, and then decide what to implement. Once we have decided we are going to do this set of ideas into requirements and implement these requirements, it goes to engineering team. And there they just do the implementation and then deliver to production, and the customer sees what's happening. So you see, this is a very good example of an end-to-end board by optimization. This is where they are doing all this. Of course, in the back end, they have the tool, because you have to use a tool also. So everything you cannot put here, because once you change the whatever you have put here, you move this post-it and put somewhere else, you will lose the data, right? So in the background, you have the digital tool that is used. There are a lot of Kanban tools, so you use some of those tools, and the data is stored there. So you know what we did earlier, what we did today, and what we are doing tomorrow. Everything will be stored there. Here, we do it on a daily basis. Whenever the employee comes to office here, they will go to the respective boards and they'll update the status. They will say, yesterday I was working here, now I'm working in the next column. I have moved it here because I completed the work, or I didn't complete, and things like that. So each person who is doing the work, they will have their own post-it, sticky and all, and they will decide how to move the cards and how to do it accordingly. So these cards are called card, sticky, post-it, whatever name you want to call it. And on that basis, the work happens. So you see, this is a basic definition for Kanban. visualization. So everything you can visualize here. So immediately when the chief executive officer or the senior management, they walk across the reception to the other room, they can see how the work is flowing, how the work is getting done. So you can see the flow here. Everybody is knowing what is happening. So fully transparent, fully 100% visualized. So trust is built, people are happy and they do things in a better way. So these are various techniques to build this. And this is done by implementing Kanban. So that is what we are looking at here. So now that you have seen this, these are the differences, what we call it. It's called Upstream Kanban, what we saw, the two boards. And the third board is the delivery Kanban. So now you understand how this works. So we can visualize turbulent flow. This means that whatever we saw earlier, they can be discarded if we don't feel that they are okay for being developed. And then we select whatever point is there and say, okay, this is aborted, this is done and all. And then we work on this area. So our course today focuses on the upstream, not on the downstream. This is another course separately, but on upstream, which up to the commitment. So this is the area where we are focused on for design and innovation. So that is the important thing to understand. And we can see here that the discarded work is visualized. Okay, I don't want these options, we discard. And min-max limits ensure sufficient options are always available. So we can decide what we have to take and how to go about it. So this is discovery Kanban. And then we have the commitment point. And after that, we have the delivery Kanban, which we all know is nothing but our software development life cycle, where we do the work, committed work, and we deliver. So here it is called options, ideas, requirements. Here it is called requirements. That is how we do the work. So I hope these things are very clear to all of you. And then we have some policies. In Kanban, everything is driven through policies. And this is called flow management policies. What is flow management? Flow is nothing but how the work flows from left to right. So the work has to flow. It should not get stuck. So if you see here, development only 3 is there, and we only have 2 post-its. So one more post-it from committed can flow to development. So that is called flowing. If you already have 3 here, nothing can flow, you are stuck here. So you are stuck in development, so committed cannot move here, and testing is waiting for something from development. So this is the blocker or the bottleneck, and we have to resolve it. So we decide, do the work here and move it to the right side. Then again, the flow will happen. So that is how flow keeps happening. So for that, we need some policies. If you don't have the policies, flow won't happen. You will be stuck because you don't know. If you are stuck, what should we do? So in the policy, we define, if you are stuck, this is how you should react. You should do this activity, you should do that activity and all. So it is called respond. I mean, we don't react, we respond. So we say the type of activity we need to do is respond to that situation using the policy and then move forward again. So that is what are the flow management policies. For example, visual policies, blocking issues, how to manage, definition of ready DOR, how to manage that, how to define the actions criteria, what is the pull criteria, how to do reorder points, that is the limits, and how to establish the replacement point, and F4P metrics. F4P is nothing but fit for purpose. This is another concept which we use in Kanban, and that is another separate course is there for that. So where we talk about what is the metrics and all those things. But here we just say, we look at some of the metrics and we use those for our requirements. And as we already discussed, triage is not one but 2 decisions. So what is the first decision? Should we do it or not? Should I save the person or I don't have to save the person because he will anyway die? So that is the always question coming in the mind of the doctor, the medical people. Because in the war zone, we cannot say, I will do it. Because if you do this, another person is going to die. If you miss this, then that person can be saved. So whom are you going to save? 2 people are there. Which person should I save? I cannot save both because our medical team is only few people and we cannot put on, we are always working over capacity, over 100%. We have to save all the people. That is the general thing. But if you say that, you cannot save any people. Because by the time you do this without doing the prioritization, everybody will get killed. So we need to decide who have a possibility of survival and how to help them to survive. we can go wrong in that decision. So we need to be careful and we need to do a lot of checks to see that we are to do. But again, speed is important. By the time you take decision, the person can die. So that is why you need this triage policy where you quickly decide, okay, this guy can be saved, that guy cannot be saved, he's almost dead. So how should we manage it? And like that. So in war zone, decisions have to be taken quickly. And you can take decisions based on policies. If you don't have any policy, simply you will decide, each person will decide differently. He will say, I think this person can be saved. The other guy will say that person can be saved. So whom are you going to pick? So that is why we need a mechanism to understand where whatever we plan to do is valuable enough. So that's the first decision. Should we save the person or not? Should we build this idea into a requirement and give it to engineering team or not? So the decisions are made in upstream. This is where we decide, can this option converted to idea, converted to requirement be taken up by the engineering team and delivered so that there is no problem and customer is happy and we don't waste time doing all this? That decision is made in upstream. So this course focuses on that area with different techniques which we learned there. And then the decision two, okay, I have decided, should we do it? Okay. But when are you going to do it? If you do it after the golden hour, suppose the person has been injured in the war, within half an hour or 1 hour or 2 hours, you have to save him. If you don't do that, he'll die. So you have to quickly decide, okay, maybe we'll do it in 1 hour because already I have another 10 patients there and all those patients I have to save plus this guy. So by the time I finish off all this, 1 hour will be gone. So within 2 hours, we have to save him. I think otherwise he's not going to make it. So all those decisions I have to take quickly in the wartime and then decide, okay, let me save those 10 people. Then I come to this person and I'll try to save him also. So when should we do it? He should be taken as the 11th person, not the first person, because I already have 10 people there. So that is why we answer these questions. If we decide that something needs to be done, when should we do it? So you have to understand the difference between when is now versus a desired delivery date. If you have to do it now, do it. Suppose you say when means I can do it after 2 days. He is not that much injured. We can give him some medicines. He can sleep for 1 or 2 days, slowly build this thing. We will monitor his life parameters, health parameters, and after 2 days we can do it. So that desired delivery date is after 2 days. So the requirements also, every requirement you cannot deliver today itself, right, to customer. You will say to the customer, this requirement I'll give after 2 weeks, that requirement I'll give after 2 months, etc. So when should we do it? That decision is a dialogue between upstream and downstream. Together they will decide. Upstream may say, customer told you may have to give it a bit earlier, and downstream will say, okay, let's discuss and let's see how we can do that. So you see both upstream and downstream, they have a dialogue and then they decide, okay, when should we do it? And you decide and then do it. So that is an important thing we need to understand. Triage is not one but two decisions. Should we do it? If we should do it, when should we do it? So you see how the logic works, and based on this, the downstream engineering team starts the work and completes. So all this we'll discuss in the course on Kanban for design and innovation, and a lot of understanding you will get there. And you see here, these two decisions are not made at the same time. They are different decisions and they require different skill sets and different roles in the organization. That is why this is upstream, this is downstream. And both require prioritization, which is nothing but triaging. How we can use triaging to prioritize the thing. So here we will be discussing in this course also what are options, real options. Is nothing but what are the alternatives or choices, the different ideas we have when appraising the work items. And this embody flexibility in the development of work, and it represents the form of insurance or a means to take advantage of a favorable situation. What this means is, I might do this option because it's good and I can recover that person quickly, or I might do this requirement because it is suitable and the customer told give it quickly. So I'm taking advantage of this favorable situation. And as a form of insurance means, suppose this idea is not good, I can take up another idea. So I have a backup. The insurance is there. Same way for the patient. Suppose patient is not able to make it, it's more difficult situation there. Then we cannot do anything. Whatever we do is not going to make it. So we have to look at another patient so that the same amount of time I put in trying to save the patient, if I put in another patient, he may recover. But this patient, very rare chance, is almost going to die. So we cannot make him recover. Because the reason being, everything I cannot do at the same time. We are a small medical team and we have to take decision how to save people, because saving all people is a very good vision, noble idea. But in real life, it doesn't work like that. Because all people we cannot save, because we have only small medical unit. So we need to see how to manage it. So for all this, we need to manage with choices. What choices you're going to take. And those choices are nothing but real options. Which option should I take? Should I save this guy, that guy, save all the guys? So real options are actual options. What is the actual choice the business will take in relation to the investment opportunities? So suppose I take this option, I convert into idea and then requirement and all. I will have to spend money, right? So I have to invest. And then I take it to the development engineering team and they deliver. Customer says, no, this I don't like it. So we already have dialogue with customers. So we save this type of situation. So customer says, no, that option looks better. Let's do that. Okay. So the business says, fine, I'll take it. And I will invest. We have to invest. So the investment is there. We'll do it and deliver. So you can see how the things change. And these things are done by the flow manager. They create the consciousness that the service team is delivering a service to the customer, and they ensure flow metrics are collected and different Kanban meetings happen and facilitate the understanding of customer requests and facilitate the resolution of blockers. So you can see that the flow manager does various things. So here the flow manager is nothing but a role in Kanban. And in your existing team, any person who is working with requirements and ideas and all that, that person can become a flow manager and do that. We also have one more course only for flow manager. It's another Kanban 2-day course on flow manager. So there we discuss what the flow manager does and all that. Here we focus on Kanban for design and innovation. How we do the design innovation for the requirements, how we manage and things like that. So that is the focus area in this course. And then we can see that there are two failure modes in implementation. So when we implement Kanban, you can have different modes. I know everything. So I go to sleep and I don't do anything properly, and overreach. I have done a lot of work and we are at a very high level and things like that. So these are various failures that you can see when you don't implement Kanban properly. So all this we'll be looking at during the course as part of the discussion. And this is nothing but your Kanban maturity model. This is just to show that there is a model in Kanban called Kanban maturity model. And we use this from the Kanban University. And we say that, okay, this is what we are doing. That's what we are doing. And we are at level 1 or level 2. So we are from level 0 to level 6. So these are the various levels in Kanban. And maybe your organization is at level 0, you may come to level 1 or level 2. Like that it happens. So if you see in industry, 80% of the organizations are in level 1 or 2. They are at this level only. And then we help them to move to level 3. Ideally, we should all be at level 4 so that we can manage all the things. Going to level 5, level 6 is very, very difficult because a lot of activities we have to do to come up to this level. This is just an example to show what is Kanban maturity model, KMM, and how we use this for our requirements. And we also have this culture, practice outcomes, and things like that. We discuss these areas also in our course in depth, where we say culture follows values, practice follow culture, outcome follow practice, therefore lead with values. So what this means and all, we'll be discussing in our 2-day course on Kanban for design and innovation. And then we also look at support analysis. How can we measure support analysis? So we may get change requests in our project. So how do we manage the change requests? How do we manage the defects? How do we manage the user acceptance testing viewer? How do we expedite the items? How do we estimate work? All these things we look at to manage the support. So when we use Kanban for the support project, we classify the work into these categories and we then do it and we understand how to manage the work. So these are some of the things which we discuss during our course. We also discuss something called lean decision filters. Value trumps flow, flow trumps waste elimination trumps economies of scale. So all this we will discuss as part of our course. So why value is more important, but how does flow work and how does waste, how do we eliminate waste and things like that. So one of the bottom line is one of the first steps to understanding Kanban is to stop starting, start finish. Once we start doing this, we do better. And then the lean decision filter helps us to apply the situation to real world situations. And then we see how to do the flow. So all these things help us to manage our work. So this is by a person called Peter Drucker, and these are all what we got from various consultants. So there is only one valid definition of a business purpose: to create a customer. So Peter Drucker is a management guru. So he told that if you want the business to survive, the main focus is create customers, have customers, otherwise your business will not survive. So this is very common, right? So this is a basic common sense is telling, create a customer, which is very difficult. So we need to work hard to get customers and then do the work. So that is how we need to look at this. So in summary, to wrap up the course, we have all these things that we focus on. We focus on advanced techniques for shaping customer demand, upstream work, fostering culture of continuous improvement, all these things we do. So we gain insights into scaling, we understand various options and strategies, we learn techniques and what is evolutionary chain thinking. All this we do in Upstream Kanban. And what are the details in the course? You can see we look at various topics: shape customer demand, establish Upstream Kanban systems, drive change, enroll in the Kanban for Design Innovation course, if you want to look at these areas. And is this course right for me? So if you are into the product management area, into the design area, into the options and other areas, this is a very good course for you to understand how to shape requirements, how to come up with requirements based on your options and ideas. That is the focus of Kanban for Design and Innovation. So shape customer demand, establish Kanban system, drive evolutionary change. And so the purpose of this course is you will understand options, you will understand how to maximize value, you will apply techniques, you will engage stakeholders, you will establish an upstream Kanban system, and you will also look at what practices upstream we can do to establish balance between preparation and execution. And these are the various topic areas covered in the course. And we will have a lot of exercises, videos. We'll also be doing some hands-on workshops. All those things we'll do in the course to understand all this. So these are the topics we focus: visualization, pull system, all this we'll focus, and how to implement it in the upstream and other topics: upstream system design, measuring upstream cadence, improving upstream. So all these form part of your two-day course on Kanban for Design and Innovation. So with this, I complete the masterclass. And if you have any questions, we can look at it. We have about 5 minutes left.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Basan. So anyone, do you have any questions from our trainer? Thank you so much. Sir, kindly check at the Zoom chat. There's one question.
Yes, from Adam. Thank you, Adam, for asking the question. How can we manage and improve flow in the upstream Kanban system to avoid bottlenecks and delays? Yeah, very good question, Adam. So this whole course is focused on that, answering that question. So if you attend the course, two-day program, you will get to know how to manage and improve flow. Lots of techniques are there. You'll understand all of that. And that will help you to improve the flow in the upstream Kanban. And that will help you to avoid bottlenecks and delays. So many things are there that it will require 2 days to understand the full thing. And once you do that, then you can improve the flow in the upstream and use that flow in the downstream. So that is how we can manage it. And the techniques are how to shape demand, what you saw as the topics of the course, right? There you will get all the answers. I hope, Adam, you got it right. So at a high level, that's what we have to focus. Yeah, we have, thank you, Adam. We have one more question. Sueba has a question. Which software we can use for Kanban? Okay, Sueba, it's a good question. We have a lot of softwares available which are specifically suited for Kanban. And we have some general softwares also available which can be used for Kanban, but they are not actually Kanban software. So in the course, I'll be telling you all those different tools which we can use for software. Here I can tell you, you can say one common tool which everybody is using at a cost is very low. So they're using that. It's called Jira. So Jira we are using for managing the project. But you see what happens, Jira is not a Kanban tool. So it can only do some things. The other things it cannot do. So for that, you need to do some manual work and then see how to manage it. Like exporting the data to Excel and then doing the things. But a typical Kanban tool, it will do everything. So we have tools from Swift Digite. So they are typically a Kanban solution provider. They give you Kanban tools. We have tools from Kanbanize. Now it's called Business Map. So they provide tools. Like that, you have 10, 15 vendors who provide all the tools. And they work in close association with Kanban University. So both of them are Kanban University and the vendors work together to supply these things. And many companies are using different tools. Generally, the Kanban specialized tools are quite expensive. So not so cheap. So some companies may find it difficult. So then they use other tools like Jira and other things, which are not necessarily Kanban tools, but can be modified to use for Kanban. So for that, what has happened? A lot of plugins have come. And you can use those plugins with Jira to simulate the Kanban thing and manage it, but still a bit of manual work will be there to manage it. So that is one thing. And I hope, Sueba, you got it. Very good. We have one more question from Yasnida. Can you use Kanban from Excel? Very good question, Yasnida. Yes, you can use Kanban from Excel. You can create the boards, everything in Excel. Suppose the company has budget issue, you cannot buy the softwares and all. You can use Microsoft Excel itself and use Kanban, but a lot of hard work, labor is required. You will have to create everything manually. It will not give the data, the real-time dashboards it will not give. So you have to keep putting the data and set up the dashboards, set up the macros in Excel, use some programming, write the VBA macros, all those things you have to do. Then only it will be useful. But I have seen many companies use Excel also for Kanban. So you see, it all depends on the budget you have and how to manage it and what they are giving and what is the focus. So companies can use Excel, they can use Jira, they can use some other tools, they can use Kanban tools. So in the course, we'll be discussing on those tools and which tools we can use for Kanban. I hope yesterday you got that right. So any other questions? Yeah, thank you, Wesley.